Thanks for checking out Inside the Huddle with Three Rivers FCA. Here are your hosts, Andrew Hofer and Tom Sigel.
Hey, welcome everyone to episode 6 of Inside the Huddle with Three Rivers FCA. My name is Andrew Hofer, and I am the area director for the Three Rivers FCA, joined by Tom Sigel, an ambassador for Three Rivers FCA. So, welcome, Tom. How are you doing today?
Doing well. We're still hanging in there. We're back after 5. They haven't kicked us off the air or anything yet, so we're excited to be back.
They'll let anyone make a podcast today, so we're thankful for the platform, right?
That's what they told us when we had this idea.
Yep. So, but excited for today. We're going to be this week and next week. We're going to be talking to an assistant coach, one from Coach Sigel's staff in the past, and then one from my staff in the past too. And it's going to be a fun topic because we're going to talk about accountability and how assistant coaches help hold head coaches accountable as far as how they're handling the team, his or her team, and all the situations that come up. So it's definitely a topic that I think it's important because I think sometimes assistant coaches get forgotten, but they play such a vital role.
Oh, that's so true. And I know that we each have had the opportunity to work with a number of great coaches, and so it's kind of hard to maybe choose just one. And so many of them probably have different perspectives as well. But as far as today, Damon Colvin, it was a little bit of an easy choice for a couple of reasons because he was the only one that we were together for almost 20 of my years at Rock Island. So we started off together, and he's still going. He's in his 25th year now with the program. But yeah, a lot of ups and downs and good times, bad times. Seeing kids grow, our kids, and become great friends, but also the fact that he's now pastoring a church, and his influence that he had on me. And you talk about the accountability part. Maybe I'll mention when he gets on a little bit that I've joked with him before that over the years he probably didn't even realize how he kept me accountable with him being a good Christian man.
Yeah, and I think as much as we talk about head coaches holding assistants accountable, it goes both ways. It takes a full team, a full staff to be able to best pour into not only each other as a staff, but pour into the kids. And, I think that role for an assistant to be able to be with a coach like you for 20 years, you guys probably know each other better than a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you're able to know each other both on the court and off the court and be able to kind of give a little guidance and push in the right direction from time to time.
Yeah, and like you said, the bonds that are there. Chad Baker was on staff with us for a number of years, and this past Saturday, Damon actually officiated the wedding of his daughter. So get a chance to hang out with some coaches up there as well. Tony Johnson was another guy, but just a number of coaches that had a huge part. And I think people can guess and have a little bit of an idea of those bonds and what you go through, but until you really do it, and whether it be football or basketball, a tough loss, you got to get together and watch film and really break things down and figure out what you're going to do. Those are some special bonds.
Yes, they are. They're unique, and we're looking forward to hearing Coach Colvin's perspective. And so he's going to be coming up and joining us here in just a second.
Yeah, I talked to him when I invited him to come on, and he was excited to do that. I don't, I said don't embarrass either of us, but he'll do a great job. So we're excited to have him, and he'll be on with us when we come back. We're back with Coach Damon Colvin this week, and excited to have you on, Coach.
Yes.
We coached together at Rock Island for 20 years, in your 25th year with the program still. And as we talked about in the intro, with assistant coaches and on a coaching staff holding each other accountable, you weren't always in your role as a pastor, but very involved in your church. And so, you were, I joked with you, you were my accountability partner in those halftime rants, slip up and say something I shouldn't. I would always think like, "Whoop, Damon's gonna get
Yeah.
mad at me or something." So, yeah, glad to have you on as we talk about this topic and share and go through things. So, I know that we want to have a couple weeks where we kind of take this route, and glad to have you on.
I'm glad to be here. Honor to be a part of it.
Yep.
Well, hey, thanks for coming on, Coach. Can you tell me about or tell us about how you joined Coach Sigel's staff, and then, 20 years is a long time together. Like, how did your not only coaching relationship but your friendship evolve as you guys spent a lot of time together for in the coaching world?
So it started, I had done some coaching in the junior high levels, things of that nature. And I wanted to actually join the junior high staff. And so I sought out Coach Sigel just to have a meeting with him, divvied up a little coaching resume. And without knowing, I put a lot of my youth minister experience in that resume. So it can be said that I stalked him because I put
You want me
something
to
in.
say? Yeah, we were doing like summer stuff. I was still driving back and forth from Rock Falls,
Yeah.
and my license plate at that time was RF
Yep.
Coach.
Yep.
So he knew which vehicle mine was, and I come out one day and there's this note on my windshield about wanting to coach. So,
Yeah. So that's
first reaction is a little bit like, "What the heck is this?" But so there you go. That's my perspective. But go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
No, and I say stalking because I tried to go to the office and put it in your mailbox. They didn't have a mailbox for you yet. I couldn't catch you in the gym. And I thought it'd be weird, like waiting for you by your car. So I just put it in the windshield. I mean, RF Coach is pretty, you had to Explorer, right? Ford
Mm-hmm.
Explorer at the time. It was pretty easy to figure out who it was. So I just knew I wanted to be a part of the program. And so I decided that I would just take a shot. And so it's very interesting how it happened. In that note, I requested to be an assistant junior high coach. And so Coach Sigel did some asking around about me in the community, did his little background check. And so Coach Ed Vesey, God rest his soul, he was instrumental in bringing me along. And so Coach Sigel calls me and he wants to meet me at the high school. And I'm excited. And I hang up the phone and I tell my wife, oh crap, what did I just get myself into? And so I walk into the meeting. And again, I'm thinking I'm going to be an assistant junior high coach somewhere. And I walk in the room. Coach Vesey sticks out his hand. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. What? What are we talking about? And so Coach Sigel goes straight in. He's like, how would you like to be the head freshman coach? I believe I said I had to pray about it. I don't believe I gave you an answer right away. But what happened is Coach Sigel is a very detailed coach, and he had his program coordination booklet on how he was going to build the program. And one of his first pillars was faith. And when I saw that, I knew I wanted to be a part. And so as I read through the things and then I learned a little bit about him, in his bio, he talked about his Christian experience, made mention of where he was going to church in Rock Falls. And I just knew that we were going to be a match. And so I wasn't a pastor yet, but as Coach Sigel said, I was very involved in my church. And I really believe that the Lord led us to be together for one, but the Lord spoke to me that this is someone that you want to work with. And so I recall telling him early in our tenure that we were going to be able to win a different way. We were going to be able to win with integrity. We were going to be able to win the right way. We were going to be able to win through our faith. And I know you came to win a state championship, but I told you that you were going to win a state championship and we were going to be an example of how coaching could be. And that definitely lived up to my expectations. But it started funny, but very quickly in the process, I knew that was the guy that I was supposed to work with.
Yeah, and it's funny because freshman position is very important. I mean, those kids' first experience and what they're building on, coming from 2 different junior highs. And so I didn't discount that, but I had a little bit more on my plate. And so after talking to people and knowing how strong of a Christian Damon was, um, after that, it wasn't much, talk about faith, that it was like, hey, I'm gonna make him the freshman coach. So there was thought, but there were a lot of other things going on. But
Sure.
I mean, you talk about God being at work in that how that worked out. You left a note on it. I did a little bit of background, and boom, yeah, he's our guy.
Yeah.
And it was a great decision. So
For me as well.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and then
So
your second part of the question was like, as far as how did to develop it amongst the years, the person of Coach Sigel, I immediately bonded with, immediately was attracted to. In my opinion, Coach Sigel is one of those salt of the earth type of people. He tries to do the right. I work at CBI Bank and Trust. Our vision statement is doing the right thing all the time, and he strives to do that. And it was a pivotal time in my spiritual formation where I was learning to be who I always said I was, if that makes sense. And as I'm coming into my own spiritually, I found a match of someone who was actually trying to be who we're supposed to be. Everybody says that they're blessed today. That's the first thing. I'm blessed to have this opportunity. No, he actually lived it. And so it was very encouraging to me. And secondly, he invested in me. Let Coach Sigel tell it, he will probably think that accountability was one-sided, but he didn't just name me the freshman coach. He invested in me. He trusted me. He taught me. And those some of the lessons I learned back then and over the 20 years I use now as pastor of Olivet Baptist Church. So how did it evolve? The relationship, we became close friends. We became trusted confidants. He was an example for me. And I know he looked at me as well. So I have to be who I'm supposed to be if I'm going to be a good accountability partner for him and vice versa. So it's just a mutually symbiotic relationship.
I told you, don't go too far. So when I edit this for the audience, I probably won't do it, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put paid advertisement underneath you as you talk about that. So no, I appreciate that. And I know that same thing that, how I felt like had to raise my game because of Coach Colvin. So Coach, the other thing that I know you always talked about too, and from the get-go and have lived it and still are, is that how everybody has an opportunity to minister and
Yes.
to reach those for Christ. And that you always talked about the coaching opportunity of how you viewed that. Care to elaborate and how you've maybe seen that play out as well?
Absolutely. So a couple of things happened to make me realize it. Again, when we first started, I didn't realize how much God was in it. I knew that it was a divine appointment that I got the position, but I didn't really know the magnitude of it. And so then as I started working with young men, my very first year, I'll never forget, I came home from work. It was a day we didn't have practice till 7 o'clock. And a young man is on my doorstep, just wants to talk. I didn't even know he knew where I lived. And so there were times early on where, giving rides, making sure somebody eats, setting that example. And my father was my assistant coach, and I was very, very appreciative of Coach Sigel that gave me the opportunity to coach with my father, who's always been my spiritual hero, who's always been my example. And so with my
Yeah,
father,
we shouldn't overlook him because I always knew he was your dad, so I knew he was
yes,
all how he
yes,
raised you. So
yes,
yeah, he was like Father Colvin to me too, a little bit
he
as far as
was.
accountability for a few years there at the start.
He was. And it was amazing time to do that. But I realized why I wanted to coach, because my dad was that guy for a lot of my friends. I thought I was popular. No, they came to, my mom fed everybody in the neighborhood. My dad provided for, even all the way through John Deere, helping people get internship, helping people get jobs. And I wanted to make an impact. And so we had a conversation early on in our tenure. My father and I were looking in the stands, and I can count on one hand the number of fathers that were there. There's always aunts and grandmas and moms. And so I learned early on that it was an opportunity to be in ministry. So when I accepted my call to preach, 6 or 7 of our players came to the church to hear my very first sermon. I've had kids like, you look like a pastor. And I wasn't even pastoring yet. And then as people had started coming and going, and when it really 100% hit home was when the clock hit 0, when we won the state championship. When the clock hit 0, I remember Chasen throws the ball up in the air, everybody's hugging. I'm looking for my wife, and I want to share that moment with her. I'm looking to hug the coaches and the players, but it wasn't as life fulfilling as I thought it would be, if that makes sense. Wonderful accomplishment. I keep my ring in a safe place. For my first few years of preaching, every time I preached, because I was an associate minister, every time I preached, I wore my championship ring. So I'm not saying it's not important, but what I learned from that is the fulfillment is the impact that we had on those young men's lives were even more important than winning the state title. And the way that we did it, we nurtured the kids. We set example for those kids. We didn't curse the kids. We put our arms around those kids. We helped a lot of kids do a lot of things that they would have never, ever done. And those impacts are what sustains you. So I learned that early on, it was a ministry, and God just keeps, he keeps on verifying that now. So now I'm the old guy on the staff. And my ministry now is as much to the coach.
Who did it used to be?
We won't say
Yeah.
who, but
I turned it over to you.
Actually, not when we started. Not when we started.
No.
But yeah, at the end, yeah, it was you. But you handed that baton to me.
Yep.
And what brings me great joy is when I got installed as the pastor, the coaching staff came to my installation, and they still today, they either come in person every once in a while to visit, or they watch me on Facebook Live. So I know that I'm making an impact through the ministry. God's using basketball as a vehicle for me to be able to spread the good news of Jesus Christ.
Well, with you guys using coaching as a ministry, and I 100% agree with you. I think it's it's one of the most important ministries out there for
Yes.
Christian coaches. Can you share anything about how you guys approach running the program differently? Because I think we have this perception of what a winning program looks like in any sport, but when you take it from a Christian perspective, it's different.
Yes.
So talk to us about that.
So I'll go back to the program coordination booklet. Faith and family, and then it was basketball. That was impactful to me, that basketball was third on his list. 5 steps to a winning tradition. I remember that. I'll never forget that. And first of all, the fact that he showed it to me as the freshman coach, I thought that was awesome. He's giving me the blueprint. So when we go back to that program coordination booklet, the way that we ran it as a Christian is we did things with integrity. And a lot of people didn't understand what we were doing. What do I mean by that? You're gonna wear your hair right. You're gonna wear your uniform right. You're gonna have your socks and shoes right. You're gonna act right in school. You're gonna act right in the community. You're gonna give back to the community. You're gonna participate. You're not gonna be out there cursing. You're not gonna be out there being a bad witness, whether you're a Christian or not. And we are gonna model that in front of you. And when we fall short, we will admit that we fall short, and we will apologize to you. And so, could we realize that at the end of the day, the evaluation is not the athletic director or the school board, that the evaluation is with God. And so we wanted to make sure we were doing what was pleasing in God's sight. Again, that's why I wanted so badly to work with Coach Sigel, he led by example, but he also showed the program. And we understand that there's rules in school. So before every game, we had a moment of silence, but our players knew that we were praying. We can't say a prayer out loud because of school. They knew that we were praying. Coaches huddles, player huddles, things of that nature. Open invitations to Edgewood or to, at the time, Second Baptist Church where I was at. And so feeding a kid when they were hungry, helping them if they needed help, doing the things that Jesus would do, those were pillars of the program. And so what happens is when you care for the player, you get optimal results. So our kids will run through a wall with us because they knew that we loved them.
Yeah. Before I ask the next question, a little bit along those lines, Andrew, I'll share one thing. When you mentioned it, it came to mind about coming to sermons. And this was at Second Baptist when you did the sermon like a pregame.
I did.
I don't know if you've ever heard one of those, Andrew, but it was, he's like, you got to come this week. You got to come this week.
Win the game. That was that sermon. Yes. What I was doing is basically what
written
I was
up
saying.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. So Coach Sigel has a pregame. We have our offense, we have our defense, we have our special plays, and then we have our bullet points. What are the keys to win the game? And so the premise is that Satan is coming for us. So we have to be on defense. But it's not just defense. We have to be on offense. So I had scriptures instead of offensive plays. I had scriptures instead of defensive plays. And then my main points that would be on the screen. So I did it just like his pregame, but I did it in a sermon format.
Yeah. So it was cool.
It's one of my favorite ones.
Yep.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. So, we were talking before we went on the air, and before you jumped on, as an assistant, it's not always easy, probably to speak up. Obviously, assistants who are around longer can do that and maybe call a head coach out or hold them accountable on whatever it might be. It might be, hey, our guys aren't playing hard enough and you're letting them get by with it. Or it might be,
right,
hey, you better clean up your act because you're embarrassing yourself or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Now, again, say what you want. I'm off the air, pretend I'm not here. So Andrew, tell Andrew maybe some of those difficulties that you see.
So Andrew, I'll talk to you here, but I think it boils down to relationship. Coach Sigel and I are close friends. And so I knew if I ever had to say some things, and there were a couple of times where I had to, honestly, one of the main areas where I would have to try to hold him accountable is with his boys. He was tough on Trey and Colton, and I would call him out on it because in his effort to be fair, he went over the line sometimes. And, Trey and Colton are two different kids. You can't coach them the same way. And they're coming to me and I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe you want to ease off a little bit, things of that nature. But we had the relationship where we could talk to each other about that. And one of the things I didn't realize until you just asked me that question is we had a FCA huddle, and and there were quite a few players there. You told the players that I was your accountability partner publicly. So you gave me permission in front of the players to try to hold you accountable. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's difficult because he's the head coach. So, but I respected him enough that if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it privately. And he respected me enough to receive it. There were a couple of times, the Augustana halftime comes to mind, or when you got thrown out at Galesburg, it was very, very rare, but there was a couple magic words there that
I ended up getting to the point where I deserved a technical.
Now,
but there was confusion that they thought it was the second one, but they wrote it up to the HSA that was a flagrant technical, and they messed up. I won't say the names,
poorly,
but yes.
And so the thing is that I bring up the Galesburg in jest because honestly, Coach, you didn't cross the line that day. You did say one magic word, but that a person of your stature shouldn't. You probably don't even know that.
For the
you said-
audience, it did not start with F.
No. Magic word for Coach Sigel is anything that's a curse word is a magic word for him. I think I heard him curse 3 times in 20 years. So
That's a lie.
I said what
It's
I heard.
Okay.
What I heard. So you got to remember, I was the assistant sophomore coach or head freshman for many of those years. So
Yeah.
I wasn't at practice. But anyway, the Galesburg game really wasn't over the line. But you know, not that Augustana halftime at the shootout was over the line, but it was out of character. And so when it's out of character, you know, are we using that as an effect, or are we really that upset, or what's going on? So that was one of those times where we kind of had a conversation after the game, like, you know, where's your head at? What are you trying to do? Was it calculated, or were you losing it? Because if you're losing it, we got to talk. If it's calculated, okay, I get it. So but there were very, very few situations where I would have to do that. But there were a couple of situations where he gave me the authority to do so. And so I was able to do that. So if you don't have a relationship with the head coach, I believe it's nearly impossible to do so because of the hierarchy.
Yeah.
So it's incumbent upon the head coach to build the right staff that you can have that accountability partner on there. And it's incumbent upon the accountability partner to respect the office. I'm a big believer in respecting the office.
I think we hit some technical issues that we kind of got cleared up here as we wrap up here, Andrew, with Coach Damon Colvin from Rock Island. And Andrew, anything to finish up with?
No, just thankful that you were able to come on and just realize how important the roles assistant coaches play. So thank you for taking some time to join us tonight.
Yep. Thanks again, Damon. Appreciate it very much. And always appreciate the years together. And, you know, when you're a part of the coaches huddle with us too on Thursday mornings, what you bring. I know everybody's excited when you're able to make it. So
I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And, you know, God bless you all. And let's keep fighting the good fight.
all right.
Amen.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Well, it was fun having Damon Colvin on this episode, and to be able to share. You know, we had a special relationship for all those years, continue to have it, but also working side by side, and interesting to hear his perspective, Andrew, from assistant coach's angle on how we held each other accountable while we supported each other, and how, you know, he did call me out a few times, but the manner in which he did it was effective. And I think that, like he said, that's a lot based on the relationship we're able to build.
Yeah, assistant coaches are so vital to a program, but what he really emphasized was that because you guys had that relationship, you could have the intentionality to hold each other accountable, to have those hard conversations, and to be able to have those talks when they were necessary. And so I think he really hit the nail on the head where he talked about without that relationship, that probably doesn't happen. And so it brings up another point about a coaching staff and really trying to develop that bond, and because it can take your coaching staff to another level, which in turn can continue to increase the impact that coaches have on their students.
Yeah, and I think that as head coaches, you know, if we don't, and we're not willing to or don't want to definitely be held accountable, but even take input from assistants and be open, that's not very healthy as a staff as well. And so I think that you know, to be open and to be able, when somebody that you've trust comes to you and says, hey, we need to do better. Maybe indirectly that's you need to be do a little better as the leader. We take that from somebody that we've worked with, and um, ironically, as we're talking closing here, I think that that sounds like a topic for the coaches huddle coming up. I think it might be more than 1 week as we get in with the guys that we have on Thursday mornings. And anybody listening is welcome. Our emails have been on the screen to reach out and be included to get that joined by Zoom or come in person on Thursday mornings, because we have a lot of great discussions. And like I said, I think this one may be showing up next week because there could be some great input on that.
Yeah, the coaches huddle is a special time, and I want to let everyone know that if you guys are interested in starting a coaches huddle or Bible study at your school, please reach out to us. We would love to be able to walk alongside you guys and support you guys, because I know that it's hard for some to be able to meet at that time with all the things going on and getting kids to school and all that. But we'd love to be able to support you guys and getting one going for what fits the needs at your school district. And then additionally, if you guys could like or subscribe to the podcast, we'd appreciate it. It helps us just get the name out a little bit more and be able to share these stories and testimonies of so many different coaches and athletes in our area.
Yeah, and I've had so much great feedback already. So the more that they share that, subscribe, and continue to get guests, it's exciting the direction it's going. And like we said at the beginning, they haven't booted us off yet, so we're gonna keep coming on and bringing on some great guests and try to spread the word. So we appreciate you again in this episode being with us on Inside the Huddle with Three Rivers FCA with Tom Sigel and Andrew Hofer. Look forward to seeing you again soon on the next episode. Thanks again.
Thanks for watching this episode of Inside the Huddle with Three Rivers FCA. If you have ideas for content or interview suggestions, just reach out to Tom or Andrew. Thanks again for checking out Inside the Huddle with Three Rivers FCA.